special session, I believe October 6th. And then those maps presumably will become the maps that are used. But there's a kind of a side issue, and that is the legislature thinks that it's wrong for the Utah Supreme Court and other courts to micromanage that process, and so they're pushing back. So there's an appeal in a lawsuit over this, so that will complicate everything as well.
Does the Constitution dictate which factors like population size or demographics lawmakers have to consider when drawing these lines?
Yeah, what a great question. And the answer is no. It only says that the legislature has authority to do that. So the legislature, of course, does create some kinds of guidelines for that. And a number of years ago, a citizen initiative specified some very specific things that the legislature should consider in making that. Particularly what they were concerned about is to keep the legislature from making the decision based on, well, this party or that party would win or be competitive in a district or something. They can't take that into consideration. So those aren't constitutional requirements, but they are. But they are the law, and so the legislature is going to be really careful. At least we assume will be really careful to screen out any kind of which party is likely to win in a particular district.
So, being that court involvement is new, how do you think this is going to turn out, or just give us your perspective on what's happening right now?
Sure. Well, I think I hope that the court will back away from this. This new development of kind of deciding that they have a responsibility to kind of guess what the people would want. That's really not the role of the court. And so we're hoping that the legislature follows the law, as you know, there's no indication to think that they won't, but that they follow the law and create a map that is fair. And if the great thing about our system is that if we think that the legislators are doing a bad job, we just select ones that we think are going to be more sensitive in terms of creating those maps and being more fair. So I think that's where things will go. But this lawsuit will be the lawsuit that the legislature is appealing now will be really important in determining more important factors like separation of powers, the role of the courts. Does the Constitution mean something different than what it says? All of those questions will also be things that we'll want to be watching in the next few months.
Bill, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you.
That is Bill Duncan, a constitutional law and religious freedom fellow with the Sutherland Institute. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Heather Kelly.
We're seeing a little bit of slowing on US 89 up in the South Ogden area. It's right where US 89 meets up with Harrison Boulevard. Doesn't appear to be a crash, just a lot of extra traffic in that area at this time of day. I-15 has most of our traffic. There's no problems northbound or southbound throughout Utah, Salt Lake, and Davis counties. You're also looking good coming out of Tooele County on I-80, but if you are trying to get into Tooele City itself, you will see delays on SR 36 just as you approach Tooele City due to construction. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. She's a beaut today, folks. 80 degrees with afternoon sunshine. 84 tomorrow, mostly sunny. 83, partly cloudy Friday. Saturday, mix of sun and clouds, 82. We're down to 79 on Sunday, mostly cloudy with a slight chance for a shower. Partly cloudy skies, 78 on Monday. Tuesday, 77. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's sunny and 72 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. And a quick check of the markets. A tiny bit of an improvement, but still seeing a lot of red numbers. A complete update coming up next.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern team, powered by Omada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
KSL News Time 1254. The IRS will no longer send out paper refund checks. Starting at the end of this month, KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson tells us more.
An executive order was signed to modernize IRS payments, and it essentially says paper checks cost more to process, they get lost or stolen more often, so they're now gone. So what should you do if you always get a paper check refund and you don't have a bank account? Well, the IRS says they'll have several options. One being you can receive a prepaid debit card.
The IRS says during the last filing season, about 7% of Americans opted to get a paper refund check. Watching Utah's money, Google says 90% of tech workers are now using AI at work. That's up 14% from last year. CNN reports it's usually for tasks like writing and modifying code. This holiday season could see its lowest number of seasonal retail workers yet. Challenger Gray and Christmas, a leading job placement firm, is predicting a drop in seasonal hiring similar to what we saw during the 2009 recession. Challenger says this could indicate a slower shopping season as we move into the holidays. Instacart is looking at each state's favorite candy. Here in Utah, it's peanut M&Ms. The study also found that Utah has the biggest sweet tooth. Last October, shoppers bought 50% more candy than the national average. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 143 points, more than 0.25%, sitting at 46,149. S&P down by 19 points. The NASDAQ down by more than 0.25% as well, down by 72 points. Cosmic Baseball is coming to Utah. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla has more.
A pair of touring baseball teams that play glow-in-the-dark games will be stopping at Daybreak's America First Square next year. It's one of multiple stops planned for their tour. The 2025 tour sold out, so this time they're launching a lottery for tickets. Ticketing information and dates will be announced soon. The idea of a glow-in-the-dark game came to the team's owner after they threw glow sticks into the stands and thought it would be cool to see it in the dark. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Hey, want to hear something great? Right now at Wendy's, you can get 2 of the #1 selling bacon cheeseburger in all fast food, the JBC, plus medium fries and a medium soft drink for just $8. Want to hear something else great? Double the burger means double the bacon. Now that's a game changer. 2 of the #1 bacon cheeseburgers with fries and a drink for just $8. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Request $8 JBC meal deal to obtain discount. Individual items at regular price.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
Hi, this is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Every 2 minutes, another American is sexually assaulted. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, you are not alone. Help is just a call or click away through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Please call 1-800-656-HOPE, that's HOPE, or visit RAIN.org, that's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Heather Kelly.
Problem-free drive for your lunch hour right now. I-15, the east and west side belt routes in the Salt Lake Valley and the 201 freeway. As always, you will encounter orange construction barrels on pretty much any roadway you're on, whether that's a city street or a freeway. So that may slow you down from time to time. Right now, the worst of those delays are in Tooele County, SR 36 southbound between Erta and Tooele City, but that's really the only thing holding you up. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front, looking at a high today of 80 degrees and staying in the low 80s through Saturday. On Sunday, though, that's when the big change comes back down into the 70s and a 30% chance of showers on Sunday. Right now, 73 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The process to create new court-ordered congressional maps moving forward today. The committee holding another hearing ahead of tomorrow's deadline to select a top choice. The role voters make in the process?
So while we can and will consider the public's input on which proposed map to choose, we cannot use the public's feedback to make the changes or adjustments we might otherwise make in a legislative process.
The time is 1 o'clock on Wednesday, September 24th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The maps redrawn. We have special coverage on the new congressional maps that could affect the 2026 midterms. Also this hour,
we're significantly beefing up security just because we want to make sure that everybody feels safe.
As thousands prepare to descend on downtown Salt Lake City for FanX, crews are working to improve and increase security for festival goers. But first, our top local stories. Police have released the names of the man and woman found dead in their home in Midvale yesterday. Unified Police Department says 65-year-old Eileen Lyon and 63-year-old Terry Lyon were found just after 11 after officers were called to do a welfare check. Police did not say what the exact cause of death is, but say they are investigating it as a possible murder-suicide. Parents and kids from Eastwood Elementary held a protest of the school's recommended closure outside of Skyline High School. During a boundary study meeting after the protest, Population Analysis Committee Director Steve Hogan explained what they looked at before recommending that closure.
First, we look at how many students live there, because that's our basic ingredient. That's what we're working with when it comes to boundary changes and school closures.
Several parents say they feel like the school district is moving too fast. The meeting lasted nearly 5 hours and got heated at times, with residents shouting at district officials. Our top national story from ABC News. A federal lawsuit has been filed by relatives of the victims of the mid-air collision over D.C. between an American Airlines regional jet and an Army helicopter.
The lawsuit is filed on behalf of victims' families against American Airlines, regional carrier PSA, and the U.S. government. It alleges the January crash of the regional jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter was wholly avoidable, noting the number of near misses that had been known to occur near Reagan National Airport. The airlines are accused of cramming in more arrivals per hour. The Army is cited for failing to operate the helicopter at the proper altitude, and the FAA is blamed for not keeping the aircraft safely apart.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy. Other national stories KSL is following: new developments in the case of a father who allegedly murdered his 3 young daughters at a Washington state campsite in May.
In new court filings, the U.S. Marshals Service says Travis Decker is dead and requests a case against him be dropped and the arrest warrant be quashed. But the sheriff in Chelan County, Washington, tells ABC News it still has not been 100% confirmed the human remains found are those of Decker. They believe they are, but until they get back DNA from a human foot that was found around Decker's clothing and his possessions, that they're not ending their case or dropping county charges. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Your money at this moment: the Dow is down by 173 points, more than 0.25%, sitting at 46,118. S&P down by 23, and the Nasdaq off by 82 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Aubrey Withridge.
Well, it's a delay-free drive right now if you're on I-15, all the way from Utah Lake up to Willard Bay on northbound or southbound is looking really good. 215's east and west side belt, both moving at good speeds. I am seeing it pretty slow if you're coming out of Saratoga Springs on Pioneer Crossing, or if you're in Saratoga Springs on Mountain View Corridor heading over to 2100 North. You might have to wait at that stoplight an extra minute or two. I'm Aubrey Withrich in the KSL Traffic Center.
A lot of sunshine over the next few days. Today's high 80, 84 tomorrow. Rain showers moving in, at least a slight chance, 10% on Friday and Saturday, increasing to 30% on Sunday. 75 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Cooler weather. What a relief. Unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill's going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. State lawmakers continue working under a tight deadline today as they work to redraw the state's congressional maps. Today, another hearing over 5 proposed maps, and tomorrow we're expecting to get a final proposal which would then face public comment. The maps redrawn, we have special coverage on Midday. We begin with KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera, who is live at the state capitol at this hour. And Eric, describe what's happening today.
Yeah, Maria. So they're still in there going through those proposed maps one by one. I want to clarify there are 5 that came from the committee's expert, right, that they talked about on Monday as well. They went through those one by one. And then there's also a bipartisan map that Senator Luz Escamilla and Representative Owens brought today, and they're actually presenting as we speak. That one's a little bit different. They worked with an outside expert. His name is Dr. Magleby, who says their map sticks closely to the rules voters approved under Prop 4 to keep things fair. And I also want to say today they made it clear, right? They clarified a few things. They said that no decision on a single map or vote is going to happen today. Today's more about sharing each map and, for example, how Salt Lake County gets divided, which communities of interest stay whole, and whether city and county boundaries are respected or split up.
So describe the mood in that committee meeting. Has it been tense?
Oh, for sure. There actually just minutes ago, there was a pretty fiery moment when Representative Calvin Roberts went after that independent expert over some tweets he actually posted in the past. And here's how that sounded in the room.
On November 10th, 2021, you responded to a tweet by a local reporter at Fox 13 about the governor refusing to veto this legislature's original map. And here's what you tweeted, and I quote, "This is straight out of the authoritarian playbook. Step 1, rig the system to systematically exclude the opposition. Step 2, gaslight the opposition and say that they are free to compete in the rigged system you set up. Shameful." Now, Dr. Magleby, I think a lot of Utahns are going to find that language inflammatory, especially against the backdrop of our current political environment. Do you think this legislature is authoritarian?
Let's be clear what's at stake in this process. And I think I watched the hearing on Monday, and I appreciate what it is that you all are trying to accomplish here. This gets at the core of our democracy. I'm just going to say no. I don't think that you're authoritarians. And I have high hopes that you will do well by the people of Utah, giving them a map that represents their interests in Washington.
Okay, Eric, we know that once a final map they've come up with a final map, it's now the public's chance to weigh in. So how does the public do that?
Yeah, for sure. So they announced today that there is now a 10-day online comment period where basically anyone can hop on and give feedback. But they did clarify one thing, which was under the court order driving the whole process, lawmakers can't actually, they say, change anything based on what they hear as far as those maps. So those maps you see online right now, those are pretty much the exact maps they'll be picking from when they meet again on October 6th.
All right. Thank you, Eric. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera live at the Utah State Capitol today. As this redistricting process moves ahead, it's brought up a lot of questions. The maps redrawn, our special coverage on Midday continues. Joining me now for some analysis is Inside Sources host Holly Richardson. And Holly, when any of the 5 maps being looked at produce a Democratic stronghold?
Probably not a stronghold, but it may produce a competitive district, right? And that's one of the things that people are both concerned about and looking forward to. So any of the potential maps could potentially leave a competitive district. And we've had that before in Utah in recent history, right? When we had first Democratic Jim Matheson, and then we had Republican Mia Love, and then we had Democrat Ben Adams, and now we have Republican Burgess Owens, kind of all in that same area. So it could definitely produce a competitive map.
So we just heard from Eric Cabrera, who said the public's going to get a chance to weigh in, but that they're not going to really make a difference in the process here. Is that true?
I mean, that's frustrating, right? It is an opportunity for people to weigh in. I think one of the things to remember, too, is as this goes forward, it will go back to the court, and the judge will see if it met the requirements of Proposition 4, that they keep communities of interest together as much as they can, that they not look at partisan advantage one way or the other. And she will make the final decision. If it doesn't meet that map, then if it doesn't meet those criteria, she will probably be the one that chooses the map.
There have also been other groups who have submitted their own maps. Are those going to even be considered at this point?
Not by the legislative committee, but they could be considered by the courts.
Okay, so what happens if the judge doesn't like the option they've chosen?
I think, again, her ruling, as I read it, is that the courts will decide. If it doesn't comply with her court order, then the courts will pick the map that will be used in the 2026 election cycle. Now, we also have to remember that the legislature is also moving forward with an ongoing lawsuit. They're still hoping to stop this process. But at this point, both the local or the district court and the Utah Supreme Court have said we're not going to slow down the process of redistricting for 2026.
Yeah, and this is the first time the courts have ever weighed in on something like this.
It is in the state of Utah, and certainly it has happened other places as well, but this was based on a citizen initiative that passed in 2018, where citizens said, yeah, we want an independent redistricting committee, and we want the following criteria. So that was where the court ruled that the citizens had the right to choose what requirements and what are placed on map drawing.
So from what you've seen, are you pretty confident they're going to come up with a map that the judge will accept?
Yes, I am actually. I think that they will do that. And I think they've made it clear. They started their Monday meeting by saying we're here under protest, but I think they'll do a map that complies with the requirements.
All right, Holly, thanks for being with me. That is Holly Richardson, the host of Inside Sources. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
3 people shot and 1 person killed today in a shooting outside an ICE facility in Dallas. Police say the suspected shooter opened fire from an elevated position and that he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Speaking at a press conference this morning, FBI Special Agent in Charge Joseph Rothrock wouldn't get into the details on the victims.
While we're not releasing identities of any victims at this time, what I can confirm for you is no members of law enforcement were hurt during this attack.
Rothrock says this appeared to be an anti-ICE attack.
Early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature.
Republican Senator Ted Cruz from Texas is now urging politicians to tamp down their immigration rhetoric.
We should not be putting language out there that inspires madmen to commit evil crime.
In the wake of the shooting in Texas, security is being increased around other ICE facilities nationwide. More on that effort from ABC's Alex Stone. He's in Southern California.
At a large ICE processing center in San Bernardino County, the Sheriff's Department says it is taking proactive steps to ensure the safety and security of all personnel and detainees at the site. It's owned and operated by a private company working for ICE. The Sheriff's Department says in the wake of the violence in Texas, it's increasing patrols around the ICE processing center and is actively monitoring potential threats, but that it's out of an abundance of caution and there are no direct threats to the San Bernardino County site. Alex Stone, ABC News.
The FBI has not released the identities of the victims, and we are awaiting official confirmation of the suspected shooter's identity. President Trump appears to be changing his tune on Ukraine, now saying he thinks they could win the war and get their stolen territory back. How Russia is responding to the president's words coming up after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Aubrey?
Things are still looking good if you're traveling on I-15. No crashes or delays to slow you down right now, all the way from Spanish Fork up to Ogden. I am seeing a little bit of congestion as you're coming out of Lake Point on SR-36 onto I-80. After that, though, it picks back up and you're at good speeds if you're trying to get onto I-80 or the 201 freeway to head into Salt Lake, and 215's east and west side belts, both of them moving at good speeds as well. The 9th annual My Gluten-Free World Expo is being held September 26th and 27th at the Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. Come see over 100 vendors showcasing the best of gluten-free. I'm Aubrey Withrich in the KSL Traffic Center.
At Peach Windows and Doors, they help homeowners stay in the homes they love while upgrading to the elegance, efficiency, and natural light of today. With hundreds of 5-star Google reviews, their clients know Peach Windows and Doors deliver what they promise.
I wanted to replace standard-sized French doors with a large custom sliding door. The update required checking a weight-bearing wall. Plus, I wanted a couple of different styles of windows. The new sliding door created a much brighter and open look. Peach was so helpful along the way with recommendations and ideas, and the installers were efficient and respectful of my space. I was thrilled with Peach Windows and Doors.
Give your $1 million home the $1 million feel it deserves. Don't wait on that someday project. Visit Peach Windows and Doors Salt Lake Showroom. Schedule a free in-home visit. You can also explore at peachwindowsanddoors.com or just call them at 801-566-1255. Peach Windows and Doors, where amazing home transformations begin.
You worked hard for your 401k, but if you've left your job, your money might be sitting in the wrong hands. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and it's very possible that the 401k that you have had for years has hidden fees and limited investment choices. But if you're no longer with the company, that 401k may be at the mercy of your former employer. All of these things could be costing you thousands. Rolling over your 401k into an IRA can provide better investment options that align with your long-term goals. At Trajan Wealth, we're fiduciary advisors that are held to a higher standard with no hidden agenda and no hidden fees. Don't let your retirement dollars sit in an old plan, and don't roll it over to your new plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services are offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
The United States is facing a mental health crisis, but there is hope. At Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, they're transforming how mental health is treated and researched, bringing compassion, innovation, and access to those who need it most. Your donation helps fund life-saving care and cutting-edge research that leads to better treatment for everyone. It's already making a difference. Huntsman Mental Health Foundation has built Utah's first ever mental health crisis care center, open 24/7 to anyone, regardless of ability to pay. They've also recently launched a youth crisis care program at Huntsman Mental Health Institute, giving kids and teens immediate support. And Huntsman Mental Health Foundation is expanding services like therapy, medication management, geriatric care, and treatment-resistant support. Join us. Be part of the change. Donate today at hmhf.org. That's hmhf.org.
All in together now, we can make it better. Can we do it? We'll rope it up.
Because we know how to jump. Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. This week, the White House announced that they had found a link between pregnant women taking Tylenol and autism in their child. Lots of confusion has come out of that, especially since acetaminophen is generally considered to be the safest pain reliever and fever reducer for pregnant women. Today on Inside Sources, they broke down more of the science surrounding fevers and autism with Dr. Carrie Gordon, an obstetrician and gynecologist at Ogden Clinic. She says it's important to remember that a fever can have tremendous effects on an unborn fetus.
I mean, I think the important thing here is to understand that,
fever and pain in pregnancy when untreated can cause pretty significant risks to an unborn baby. It really depends a little bit on how far along the pregnancy is, but especially in the first trimester, you can actually cause significant birth defects in a baby, things like neural tube defects, cleft lip, and other cardiac or heart defects as well.
What about other fever reducers or pain relievers? Why can't a pregnant woman use something besides acetaminophen?
They all have the ability to reduce fever. Unfortunately, during pregnancy, there are significant complications with ibuprofen use or even high-dose aspirin use in pregnancy. So we don't recommend those two options. In an unpregnant woman, we definitely recommend them for fever reduction. But if you use ibuprofen or high-dose aspirin in pregnancy, it actually can cause closure of a specific structure in a baby's heart that can cause right heart failure. It can affect lung development for a baby. It can affect the amount of fluid around the baby, which obviously is very important for that baby for development. And it also can cause excessive bleeding, and there has even been association with miscarriage of use of those medications. So Tylenol or acetaminophen does seem to be the safest fever reduction in pregnancy.
If you or someone you love is pregnant, Dr. Gordon says a minor fever might not be anything to really worry about. She says it becomes concerning when the fever lasts for a long period of time, and it's especially concerning when it's above 103 degrees.
When I talk to my patients, and obviously I would always encourage a patient, if they're having symptoms or concerns of an infection or fever, that they should definitely address that with their physician, because sometimes the underlying infection is even more important to get a hold of than the fever itself. But 100.3 is sort of the threshold that I would use, especially if it's a persistent fever. I always encourage patients to use other techniques maybe initially, things like cooling blankets or ice packs. But if you have a persistent fever above that temperature, you definitely can cause some risks that are unnecessary and could be avoided.
As for the links between Tylenol and autism, Dr. Gordon says the research done over the past several decades doesn't quite fit with what the administration is saying. But she also admits that more research and testing is definitely needed.
We've had decades of studies, probably thousands of studies that look at an association between autism, ADHD, acetaminophen. There definitely is not any causation, which is different. So I don't think that there's clear evidence at all that shows that there's causation for those things. I think there's a lot of research that still is being done in order to answer some of these finite questions. But, we know autism and ADHD development is complex. And so I think the evidence really does support acetaminophen use in pregnancy and that it is a safe option for pain and fevers. But I do think more research definitely needs to be done.
Dr. Carrie Gordon is an OBGYN with Ogden Clinic. A major shift from the president on how he views Ukrainian success in the war with Russia. After his speech before the United Nations General Assembly, President Trump met with Ukraine's president, telling him that he thinks Ukraine can win back all of its territory that has been stolen by Russia. President also saying NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft that cross into their airspace. ABC's Karen Travers has more on the Start Here podcast with Brad Milkey.
This was a significant shift from President Trump yesterday. He was indicating that he thinks Ukraine can regain all of the territory that the country lost during this 3.5-year war with Russia. So he first posted on Truth Social earlier in the afternoon yesterday and said that he believes Ukraine can win the war against Russia and also win back the land that they have had taken from them by Russia, and maybe even get some more back. Then he expanded upon that when he was meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron.
I feel that way. I really do feel that way. Let them get their land back. Yep. So we'll see how it all works out. And
it's really hard to overstate how big of a shift this is in just a month from the president. He has said Ukraine must give up some of the territory that has now been occupied by Russia over this 3.5-year war.
There'll be some land swapping going on. I know that through Russia and through conversations with everybody.
He was saying that all summer in the lead up to his meeting with Vladimir Putin in Alaska. That was a topic on the agenda. The president refers to this as land swaps and says that this is something that needs to be done in order to reach a peace deal.
The Constitution of Ukraine makes it impossible to give up territory or trade land.
President Zelensky has said no way. They are not going to trade land for peace. This was a non-starter for him. And frankly, European leaders were backing him up on this, saying, why should Ukraine have to give up parts of their country to reach a peace settlement with the country that invaded them? Yesterday, though, the president seemed to say that this is the time for Ukraine to strike.
The Russian economy is suffering. I mean, there is this opportunity of a good future.
It is.
We will back it.
I think so.
One other thing that's interesting in this, though, is that he says that Ukraine can do this with significant support, financial support from the European Union and European countries and NATO.
I mean, you're much closer to the city. We have an ocean in between. You're right there. And Europe has to step it up.
He never explicitly said, from the United States, but obviously we're a part of NATO. And he said that the U.S. would continue sending supplies, weapons to NATO, and then NATO can do what it wants with it, which indicates, of course, that would continue going to Ukraine. So there was sort of that implicit, subtle indication of ongoing support for Ukraine, but just the shifting away from saying that Vladimir Putin can take this territory and walk away with it is a major shift from the president.
How is the president of Ukraine responding? Well, as you might expect, he says it's really welcome news.
This was really welcomed in a big way by Ukrainian President Zelensky yesterday when he was at the UN.
The good news that the economy is in the bad shape.
Reporters were able to catch up with him and ask him what he made of the president's comments, and he said this was a big shift, a really big shift. And he was asked if this was a game changer for the war, and Zelensky said,
Trump is a game changer by himself.
But even with this news, it's important to remember that Ukraine no longer has access to the land Russia stole from them. And unless Russia agrees to give it back to them, Ukraine is still at a loss. This morning, the Kremlin pushed back on President Trump's comments about the country being a paper tiger that could fold, saying Russia isn't a paper tiger, but a real bear instead. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Thousands coming to Salt Lake City this weekend for the annual FanX. We'll take a deeper look at how the organizers are planning to increase security. And speaking of safety, a growing industry in school safety and security. We'll go in depth with ABC News. Taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front, you can expect 80s for the next few days, all the way through Saturday, but things shifting over the weekend. On Sunday, suddenly that 30% chance of showers crops up, and the temperature is dropping down into the 70s. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute. It's 1:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Family members of one of the 67 victims killed in the Potomac River collision between a regional jet and Black Hawk helicopter in January filed the first wrongful death lawsuit. That suit is against American Airlines, regional carrier PSA, and the U.S. government. Bob Clifford is an attorney for the family and says the crash was avoidable, noting the number of previous near misses at the airport.
Had the Army done what it was supposed to do, had the FAA done what it was supposed to do, none of this would happen.
The NTSB is still investigating the collision. 3 detainees were shot today at an ICE facility in Dallas. ICE officials say 2 were killed, along with the gunman who died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Authorities say no law enforcement officers were injured. In response, security is now being stepped up at other ICE facilities. Volatile storms on track for parts of Tennessee to West Virginia today. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. We're learning more information about a kayaker who lost their life at Echo Reservoir last night.
The Summit County Sheriff's Office says the man who's from Salt Lake County is 56 years old and was out on the water by himself. They're now saying his adult son hadn't seen his father for about an hour when he called for help. Ty Hunter with the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation was part of the search operation last night. He tells me the man was not wearing a life jacket, which he says was problematic given the water was around 65 degrees when he went under, and authorities say he was out on the water alone.
Inherently, things can go wrong. You're outdoors, you're out on the water. Something can happen with that.
Hunter says they found the man about 40 feet beneath the surface. With water temperatures continuing to drop, Hunter says it's not only critical for you to have your life jacket on at all times, but especially when you're by yourself.
They save lives, and they save lives because they buy you time.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
The Utah County Commission will hold a meeting later today during which they will vote on who will represent Tyler Robinson in court. Robinson is the man accused of murdering Charlie Kirk at UVU 2 weeks ago. Commissioner Amelia Powers Gardner says the defense will cost around $2 million over the next few years.
These dollars, they come from the county general fund, which is funded by local property taxes and sales tax. So unfortunately, our community is feeling the impact of an increase of violent crime as we grow.
Powers Gardner tells me they want an experienced defense counsel to make sure that Robinson's constitutional rights are met. And doing something right the first time can cost taxpayers less in the long run. They'll vote on Robinson's lawyer during their meeting at 2 o'clock. Other local stories KSL is following. A program designed to help foster children and parents adjust is officially launching in Utah after 2 years of trial runs. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
The Care Communities program is meant to create connections with neighbors and businesses in the local area. A team of 8 to 10 people will support a family while everyone gets used to their new living situation. Volunteers can help with errands, meals, chores, or choose a special project like home or yard improvements. Director of the program says not only does this lift a burden off foster parents, this also gives the children extra trusted adults in their lives they can turn to.
The program has been tested in the state for the last 2 years. The Utah Mammoths say their new team jerseys will go on sale on October 2nd at Fanatics inside the Delta Center before the team's first preseason game that evening. They'll be available at other retailers later on. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by 149 points, sitting at 46,144. S&P is down by 22. The NASDAQ is down by 86 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Aubrey Withridge.
Things are still looking great out there if you're on I-15. I still don't have any delays all the way from Spanish Fork up to Ogden right now, northbound or southbound. I am seeing a little bit of slowing if you are on SR 36 coming out of Tooele and heading over to Stansbury Park. And then again at the junction from SR 36 over to I-80. But after that, it looks like you pick back up to good speeds. I-80 looks clear all the way up to I-15 and the 201 freeway, just a little bit of slowing through Magna. Other than that, though, things are looking pretty good. The Good Feet store supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Aubrey Withridge in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's headed for a high of 80 today and staying in the 80s through Saturday. Then the temperature dipping on Sunday down to 79 with a 30% chance of showers. 75 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hello, car donation hotline.
Hi, I'd like to donate a car to the Utah Kidney Foundation. Are you in Utah?
Awesome. Let's get some info and we'll send you a tow truck.
But I want my car donation to benefit my neighbor in Farmington who needs a transplant. Are you in Utah?
That's a gnaw. I'm in SoCal, but you're still donating to charity.
What charity?
Doesn't matter.
Yes, I want my donation to stay in Utah.
Righteous dude. You need to call Tow Cars in Utah. Locals only, am I right?
Oh, yeah. I remember Tow Cars with a K like kidney. It's on a billboard somewhere. TOWKARS.org. That's it. Towcars.org.
If you'd like your vehicle donation to help Utah kidney patients in the Beehive State, please use the web address on their billboard, towcars.org, to donate your old car or truck. That's TOWK like kidney, ARS. Towcars.org.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, We're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Thousands of people expected to descend on downtown Salt Lake City this weekend for FanX. If you are planning to attend, you can expect to see beefed up security, largely due to all the publicity surrounding the public murder of Charlie Kirk. The shooting just a few weeks ago has since raised concerns about safety and security at large-scale events. Founder and CEO of the FanX Salt Lake Pop Culture and Comic Convention, Dan Farr, says they want people to feel comfortable.
One thing we've done this year, we just with the climate of things going on, we have increased our security. That's something that's really important to us, and we've been working with the Salt Lake City Chief of Police and several other law enforcement agencies to make sure that this is going to be a very safe event and people will have a good time. One thing about this event is there can be some things going on in the world, but here's people can come in and put all that behind them and focus in on finding our common goal, common ground and things that we can enjoy celebrating together.
Farr tells KSL-TV there will be extra security both inside and outside of the venue.
We've more than doubled the security staff that we've had in the past. And there's a lot of things we're doing in addition. So we're significantly beefing up security just because we want to make sure that everybody feels safe.
There will also be some routine security steps for convention goers like metal detectors and bag checks. Farr believes the event's fun and positive atmosphere, though, is much needed right now.
Pop culture and fandom is kind of a unifying thing. So yeah, you can have somebody on one side or the other of the political spectrum or the religious spectrum or wherever it is. People can come here and still celebrate Star Wars or Star Trek. Maybe they can get in a little bit of debate about is Star Trek better than Star Wars or DC or Marvel, and that's okay. As long as it's good nature and fun, we welcome it here.
Among the folks presenting at FanX are several cast members of the 1970s show Happy Days.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to race to you.
All right, that takes us back a few years. Did you know, though, that Happy Days is actually credited with helping save millions of lives? KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly got the details from one of the most loved characters of this beloved show.
Anson Williams, who plays Potsy on the long-running show, says his cousin Hank invented the Heimlich maneuver. Williams said at the time there was a different procedure for saving a choking victim.
The Red Cross was against Hank because they had a real conflict in what was going on. So they constantly put it down and promoted, slapping on the back. So he was having a very hard time getting it out to the public other than regionally here and there, but not the way it should be.
That's when Williams made an appearance on the Merv Griffin Show and talked about his cousin Dr. Hank Heimlich, who was in the audience. Merv called Dr. Heimlich onto stage to demonstrate the procedure.
But guess what? Guess who the director of the Merv Griffin Show is? It's Johnny Carson's brother. Dick Carson calls Johnny and said, "You got to get this guy on the air. You're going to save lives." 3 weeks later, Dr. Heimlich was on the Carson Show and did it on Johnny Carson, and it became worldwide. Boom. If it wasn't for Happy Days, if it wasn't for the creation of Happy Days and a great cast and all this, we never would have had that opportunity.
Williams says he was taught very early on to use his fame as a platform to promote worthwhile causes. He says he can't think of a better cause than for his cousin to teach others how to save people who are choking. Williams says he's excited to be at FanX this weekend and invites everyone to come say hi at the Happy Days booth. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
Okay, I don't remember seeing that on Happy Days, but I will tell you I have used the Heimlich a couple of times. And FanX begins tomorrow, runs through the weekend at the Salt Palace Convention Center. In other news, school districts across the country turning to some high-tech solutions to try to prevent the next shooting or attack. But the tech has been blamed for not catching incidents like the Antioch High School shooting in Nashville. Administrators say a $1 million system failed to detect the gun that was used in that shooting. And in upstate New York, a similar system didn't catch a 9-inch knife that was used in an attack on a student. ABC's Aaron Katursky takes a look at the massive growth in this booming industry of school security.
A vicious attack in the hallways of Proctor High School in Utica, New York, caught on a cell phone.
I got out of the gym. That's when I got attacked.
Watch as the student wearing a red shirt attacks senior Annie Laird 2, stabbing him multiple times.
Out of nowhere?
Out of nowhere.
Authorities say the student lodged a 9-inch hunting knife into his back, neck, and hands that was smuggled through the district's brand new $4 million state-of-the-art AI weapons detection system called Evolve. The system is designed to detect knives, guns, bombs, and other weapons when people walk through.
How does a student get a 9-inch knife into the school?
He came in, he walked right through the Evolve system with his backpack.
School districts around the country are spending hundreds of millions of dollars to harden their campuses, and vendors have an increasingly broad catalog of products to buy.
We actually have the ability to launch pepper balls off of our drones.
Attack drones, bullet-resistant glass, and safety bunkers were all on offer at a recent school safety convention in Las Vegas. But even the organizer says nothing is foolproof.
I can't say there is a silver bullet that is going to give us that 100% guarantee.
Some pricey pieces of technology have been cited for either not working as advertised or not working when it mattered most. In Nashville, administrators said a $1 million system failed to detect a gun earlier this year at Antioch High School before a student was shot and killed.
Shatter-resistant film, security cameras with weapon detection software, and security vestibules. Unfortunately, these measures were not enough to stop this tragedy.
Some critics describe what happened in Nashville and in Utica as a cautionary tale.
Reality is there's not a great deal of evidence that many of the products being marketed would even work in an active shooter or other school security threat.
A trade group that speaks on behalf of the security industry acknowledged in a statement to ABC News that some products out there fall outside wide acceptance and deserve more scrutiny. But the group maintains that recent technological advances have made many security measures much more effective, and that it would be a mistake not to incorporate and fully utilize these improvements.
Is it still painful?
When I'm doing something like physical, I feel stinging everywhere.
Annie Laird 2 is suing Evolve and the school district for negligence and misleading marketing claims. Evolve has broadly denied the allegations in court and said in a statement to ABC News that its platform has a proven ability to consistently detect a wide variety of threats.
It's the fear of becoming the next Proctor or the next Antioch that's driving demand for new solutions. What we know does work, experts say, is having students and staff that are alert, aware, and able to spot potential problems, and also a decidedly low-tech maneuver, locking doors. In a recent school shooting in Minneapolis, a school official credited locked doors with saving countless lives.
ABC senior investigative reporter Aaron Katursky reporting. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Hey, want to hear something great? Right now at Wendy's, you can get 2 of the #1 selling bacon cheeseburger in all fast food, the JBC, plus medium fries and a medium soft drink for just $8. Want to hear something else great? Double the burger means double the bacon. Now that's a game changer. 2 of the #1 bacon cheeseburgers with fries and a drink for just $8. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Request $8 JBC meal deal to obtain discount. Individual items at regular price.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
More than half of working Americans feel like they are falling behind when it comes to their retirement savings. A new Bankrate survey shows nearly 3 in 5 workers feel that way, and many of those who are behind say it's unlikely they will be able to save enough to retire comfortably. Bankrate senior economist analyst Mark Hamrick joined me.
Maria, we know that Americans are juggling a lot with their household money, their personal finances these days, and this is a piece of that overall pie, one of the many challenges that people are trying to manage through. And we're really talking here about one of the major goals in life, and that is saving for retirement. So it turns out that nearly 3 in 5 Americans in the workforce, well, they say they're behind where they should be with their retirement savings. And that includes more than a third who say they are significantly behind on where they think they should be with their retirement savings. And more senior workers are more likely to feel that they are behind on this effort than their younger counterparts. And that includes 69% of those who are members of Generation X, specifically aged 45 to 60, as well as 59% of baby boomers, those aged 61 to 79. Now, I translate that in a sense, or explain it by the fact that I think as individuals approach retirement age more immediately, in other words, they can kind of see it over the front of the steering wheel, we do tend to take that more seriously, unfortunately, than those who are very early in their careers and think some of whom think that's a problem they need to solve later.
Mm-hmm. So given the state of the economy and what people are juggling, what should they be doing or thinking about that maybe they can do that they're not thinking about right now when it comes to retirement savings?
Well, this is something that would apply to everyone, whether it's someone who is early in their career, who may or may not have a lot of experience with, for example, taking advantage of an employer-sponsored program, a 401k that has an employer match, or someone who's very much mindful of the fact that retirement is getting closer soon rather than something that's far off in the future. And that is first identify what your retirement savings goal should be. How much money will you need? And to the extent that we all have household balance sheets, and that's a more remote idea for someone who's 40 years away from retirement than someone who is 5 or 10. We try to think about how much income we need to replace in retirement and what the resources are that we have at that time. For some people, it might mean working part-time, and therefore having some income on top of what has been saved or what they might expect from a retirement plan and or Social Security, but also having some real-time income. And so you can use a retirement calculator that we have, for example, online at bankrate.com that's very easy to use and gives you an idea of how much to save. I would also recommend that people work with a financial planner, whether it's a fee-only financial planner or someone who they can reach out over a toll-free telephone line that might be a plan administrator with a 401k to say, how much should I be saving? And the reality is, not only do most people think that they're behind, but a good number of people think that it's unlikely that they'll be able to save enough to match the amount that they think they need to save. About 47% of those with a specific retirement savings goal in mind say it's unlikely they'll be able to save that amount. So that really is identifying an opportunity, but also a problem that needs to be resolved.
Mm-hmm. So you were talking about the employee match. Are there other things that people may be missing when they're thinking about retirement?
Well, first of all, what I would say is you need to have the specific goal in mind. So retirement planning is a necessary part of the process. For people who are in 401k plans, workers who are 50 plus can contribute using catch-up contributions, contributing an extra $7,500 on top of their extra on top of the standard limit. And for individual retirement accounts, IRAs, which are separate or at least have their own identity within the 401k complex, they can save extra money as well. What I would say is we may need to consider working additional years, even an additional 1, 2, or 3 more years in the workforce can reduce the drawdown and the period during which we need to seize upon our retirement savings. And in the meantime, we're boosting our contributions. An option for many people is to delay their Social Security if possible. Every year that one delays taking Social Security beyond their full retirement age typically does increase the benefit. And so that just simply means that you have a higher paycheck ahead.
Mm-hmm. Either way, you think you have a long time till retirement, but those years fly by. So taking action right away on something as concerning as numbers like this is pretty important.
And it's most important for the youngest members of the workforce, or those who are farthest away from retirement, aside from those who have an immediate issue that they're looking at retirement. And the reason why I say that in terms of trying to prioritize with younger workers is they have time on their side, and that is not to delay, but to seize upon the opportunity to take advantage of the compounding or the superior returns that they'll get by exposure to the stock market or mutual funds, exchange-traded funds, where they'll get that return that really does beat the heck out of allowing inflation to eat up your money in a deposit account, such as in a certificate of deposit, or not even putting it to work at all. So while young people may think that this is something that they can put off, what I'd say is, why not take advantage of the opportunity right now? And for those who are looking at retirement more immediately, what I would say is, yeah, you need to prioritize this as well. It may mean that you do have to delay that retirement date, but also looking at any variety of options, such as delaying taking your Social Security if you're going to continue to work for a while.
Bankrate Senior Economic Analyst Mark Hamrick says start early, contribute consistently, and make sure that you adjust your plan regularly because life changes and so should your savings strategy. Jimmy Kimmel was back on the airwaves last night, the first time since he was yanked from ABC's lineup. What he had to say in his apology coming up after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Aubrey?
Well, right now things are looking good on I-15. Just a little stretch of southbound slowing just right around 7200 south. You might see some brake lights through there. But other than that, things are looking good on I-15. Also seeing a little bit of slowing if you're on SR 209 in Sandy Draper area. You just around the stoplights, you might have to wait an extra stoplight or two. And Pioneer Crossing and Mountain View Corridor 2100 North in Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs, Lehigh area. That's all looking pretty bogged down right now. So just give yourself some time to get over to I-15. I'm Aubrey Withrich in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Imagine struggling with a slow, outdated computer that takes forever to load anything, that randomly freezes up and is filled with viruses and malware.
Now picture yourself with a powerful desktop or laptop that runs smoothly and efficiently, making your work and entertainment seamless. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Shop with any Mountain America credit or debit card for a chance to win a $5,000 vacation voucher. Simply tap, insert, swipe, or click to be entered to win now until October 31st. Use any card, win any trip from Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/anycard for official rules or to apply. Loans on approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Insured by NCUA. Limited time offer. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time.
Common Spirit Health has expert orthopedic care that gets you back at it and back to your best. Find skilled orthopedic physicians at Common Spirit locations who specialize in general orthopedics and repair of hips, knees, shoulders, and hands, so you can return to running races or chasing the grandkids. Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Orthopedic care with human kindness is here. Visit mountain.commonspirit.org.
Ticket packages for the Utah Mammoth 2025-26 season are available now. From full season and half season packages to mini plans and other flexible options, choose the ticket package that fits you best and be part of the action all season long. Call or text 801-325-PUCK to talk with a rep or visit nhl.com/Utah/tickets/season tickets to learn more.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Jimmy Kimmel Live back on the airwaves following a suspension by parent company Disney. The move triggered by comments Jimmy Kimmel had made about the murder of Charlie Kirk. But even though it's back in the TV lineup, you won't find it on all ABC stations across the country. That includes here in Utah, where the local ABC station's parent company, Nexstar, says they will continue to preempt the nightly program. ABC's Trevor Alt has more.
Walking out to a thunderous standing ovation overnight, Jimmy Kimmel returning to late night TV after a week off the air.
Thank you. Anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted.
Kimmel's show was suspended amid apparent threats from the Trump administration following the host's comments last Monday about the ideology of the alleged shooter in Charlie Kirk's murder. Growing emotional, Kimmel now clarifying his remarks.
I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it, nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way.
He also praised Kirk's widow during this past weekend's memorial for her husband.
On Sunday, Erica Kirk forgave the man who shot her husband. She forgave him. That is an example we should follow.
But Kimmel was also back telling jokes, taking a jab at President Trump.
You almost have to feel sorry for him. He did his best to cancel me. Instead, he forced millions of people to watch the show. That backfired bigly.
After the taping of the show, President Trump weighing in overnight, blasting ABC's decision to put Kimmel back on the air, saying his talent was never there. Why would they want someone back who does so poorly, who's not funny? But not everyone was able to watch. Nexstar and Sinclair, media groups that own dozens of local ABC affiliates, are still not broadcasting Jimmy Kimmel Live.
And Kimmel said this situation is much bigger than him. He said his show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this.
ABC's Trevor Alt reporting. In the next hour of Midday, we expect to learn who will defend Tyler Robinson in court as he fights charges of murdering Charlie Kirk. We'll continue to watch that story. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The plans to close elementary schools on the east benches of Salt Lake County moving forward. Opposition from families in the Granite School District. The superintendent saying they're trying to thread a narrow needle.
Well, this is a year-long process. I know some people might feel that's a little bit rushed, but the stress of a boundary closure, of a potential closure in your community, going from February to December before a final decision is made is really difficult and challenging.
The time is 2 o'clock on Wednesday, September 24th. It's Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, more on the efforts to protect those schools and what their closures could mean for families nearby. Also this hour,
get donors to contribute so we could do a pilot, make sure this works, figure out what we might need to change about it.
A program that supports children and families in foster care is launching today after years of trial runs. But first, our top stories. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It's 2:02. Police have released the names of the man and a woman found dead in their home in Midvale yesterday. Unified Police Department says 65-year-old Eileen Lyon and 63-year-old Terry Lyon were found just after 11 after officers were called to do a welfare check. Police did not say what the exact cause of death is, but say they're investigating a possible murder-suicide. Our top national story from ABC News. A federal lawsuit has been filed by relatives of the victims of the mid-air collision over D.C. between an American Airlines regional jet and an Army helicopter.
The lawsuit is filed on behalf of victims' families against American Airlines, regional carrier PSA, and the U.S. government. It alleges the January crash of the regional jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter was wholly avoidable, noting the number of near misses that had been known to occur near Reagan National Airport. The airlines are accused of cramming in more arrivals per hour. The Army is cited for failing to operate the helicopter at the proper altitude, and the FAA is blamed for not keeping the aircraft safely apart.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy. Other national stories KSL is following. New developments in the case of a father who allegedly murdered his 3 young daughters at a Washington state campsite in May.
In new court filings, the U.S. Marshals Service says Travis Decker is dead and requests a case against him be dropped and the arrest warrant be quashed. But the sheriff in Chelan County, Washington, tells ABC News it still has not been 100% confirmed the human remains found are those of Decker. They believe they are, but until they get back DNA from a human foot that was found around Decker's clothing and his possessions, that they're not ending their case or dropping county charges. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day down by 171 points, sitting at 46,121 at the close. S&P 500 down by 19 and the NASDAQ down by 75 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Aubrey Withridge.
Things are looking great if you are on I-15 all the way from Willard Bay down to Utah Lake. Have no delays there. 215's east and west side belt, both of those looking good and moving right along as well. Starting to see a little bit of traffic as you're coming out of Tooele County on the 201 freeway through Magna, heading up to Bangerter Highway. But if you're on I-80 heading over to I-15, no delays there. And it is starting to fill in a little bit if you're coming out of Saratoga Springs on Pioneer Crossing and on Mountain View Corridor heading over to 2100 North and Redwood Road in Lehigh. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Then find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Aubrey Withridge in the KSL Traffic Center.
Beautiful weather with mild temperatures over the next few days. Today's high 80, 84 tomorrow. The weekend, though, things changing a bit on Sunday. We drop back down into the 70s with a 30% chance of showers. 76 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. I spoke with the hiring manager who told me that 3 of the 10 resumes that he had in the top listed pile were almost identical. Same wording, same experiences, same interests, but different names. The candidates had used the same AI program to modify their resume to fit the job description. It was no surprise that the AI-based hiring program labeled them as one of the top candidates. But it got worse. Other candidates had almost identical answers in the phone interviews because AI told them what they thought the employer wanted to hear. Much as we would like the computer to tell us who to hire, successful managers will still need to use the basic interpersonal skills to make the right hiring decision. If you want to know more about how to make good hiring decisions, consider an MBA at Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. 2 schools in the Granite School District could permanently close their doors at the end of the school year. Eastwood and Morningside Elementary Schools may both close following a recommendation by district officials. The recommendation comes after a population study suggested that the schools were being underutilized, and officials say it's not an efficient use of public dollars. Parents are outraged. Not only does this pose a huge logistical challenge for kids and parents alike, but parents like Seth Osborne say these closures will be damaging to the community.
It would require 2 buses to bus our kids to a different school, and the cost of a bus per year is $225,000. You're close to $500,000 to just get us to go to a different school when that money could be invested into our school, and it's the only place in our neighborhood, in our area, that we can gather as a community, and they're about to just take that away from us.
Nastasia Mangone is another parent concerned about the closure. For her, though, it's a matter of sentiment.
I went to Eastwood as a kid, so I'm in a special position as an alumni student who moved my child into this school district, or into this boundary, so they could experience the magic that is Eastwood. And it's the same amazing school that it was 18 years ago. We have kids that are testing high, above grade level in certain things. We are constantly, year after year, testing high. We are a gold STEM school. Our kids are thriving. What is the point of breaking that up?
Some parents like Jen Tomchak are also concerned about what this means for kids who walk to school.
Also, I implore each of the board members to actually attend the walk from 1.5 miles in the North Cove to Oak Ridge. It's easy to look at a flat piece of paper and say the schools are only 2 miles apart. But this ignores the topography and actual hazards of this walk. There's a canyon that separates the 2 schools. Any kids walking from North Cove to South Cove will have to go down and then back up with an elevation gain of 250 feet in about half a mile.
Superintendent Ben Horsley tells Inside Sources that parent input is being heavily considered in the decision-making process.
Well, this is a year-long process. I know some people might feel that's a little bit rushed, but the stress of a boundary closure, of a potential closure in your community, going from February to December before a final decision is made is really difficult and challenging. Our actual proposal was we studied all the schools in the area and came up with several recommendations to narrow the scope just recently, and now we're going through the process of obtaining feedback on that proposal. We've already made some adjustments to the proposal. We'll continue to listen to feedback and make any additional adjustments before a final recommendation is made to the board in November.
Horsley addressed concerns around transportation, saying that although there will be adjustments made for a group of students who cannot walk to school, many will still be able to walk like normal.
The fact is, we do believe that while there's only a portion of those students who would be eligible for transportation, by and large, the vast majority of the students who currently attend Eastwood would likely be eligible for a guest pass or a courtesy stop. And so that's another reason why this recommendation is that we would not have to provide an overwhelming amount of transportation, because most kids would be able to continue to walk to school. There's concerns about buses going up into that area. We've evaluated that. We feel comfortable that the road is traversable. Those are priority 1 roads for Mill Creek City when there is a snow issue. And so, yeah, we do feel comfortable that the due diligence has been done with respect to potential safe walking routes and opportunities for transportation as appropriate.
In addition to closing Eastwood, the district also proposes closing Morningside Elementary, then reopening it as a special French dual immersion school. The school board will ultimately make a decision in November. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
Cooler weather. What a relief. Unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill's going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
New Yorkers were rattled this week after a massive plot was uncovered that could have shut down the city's cell phone network. Imagine it. No ability to use your phone to call anyone, especially in an emergency. The plot was discovered by the Secret Service just as world leaders were descending on the city for United Nations meetings. On the Start Here podcast, hosted by Brad Milkey, ABC's Josh Margolin outlines what the federal agents found.
They went to a number of empty locations, one in Connecticut, one in Brooklyn, one in Westchester, New York, all around the New York metro area, and they found all of these servers, computers, and SIM cards that were set up in such a way that if these devices were triggered, it would basically flood the New York metro area with millions of messages, text messages, and phone calls simultaneously, essentially bringing the entire telecom system in the nation's largest city to its knees. Now, that sounds bad enough, right, Brett? Right. But then think about it. Everything that law enforcement does, the radios in the cars, the computer systems, the background checks, the monitors, everything is all telecom based now. It literally would have crashed the law enforcement system.
These devices allowed anonymous encrypted communications between potential threat actors and criminal enterprises, enabling criminal organizations to operate undetected.
Now, I want to be very, very clear. The Secret Service does not know if this is connected to the General Assembly or something else. They do know that it was a plot and it was nefarious and it had to stop.
Margolin says Secret Service agents uncovered the plot while looking into hoax swatting calls received by 3 of the people that they are charged with protecting.
One of those people we know has direct access to the president. We don't know who it is, but we know that it's somebody in that inner circle. Could be in the inner circle of the family, could be in the inner circle of the administration, but it's in the inner circle. So a threat to somebody who interacts directly with the president is top-level threat. Okay, so the Secret Service then tracks it back. And that's how they get to these locations that are basically what they call these like server farms, where they have all of this equipment. They didn't find anybody. But the first thing they did is they thwarted the threat.
To be clear, these recovered devices no longer pose a threat to the New York tri-state area.
But additionally, law enforcement is now hot on this case, and they have not made any arrests, but they're optimistic that they possibly could.
Who did it? I mean, who do they think is behind this?
So they are not fingering anybody, and nobody's been arrested. We do know, according to law enforcement sources who've been briefed on the investigation, that whoever was responsible for renting the apartments and putting the equipment there, that's almost irrelevant, or at least partially not fully relevant. The key thing is that the Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies believe that this is an operation that is connected to the Chinese government.
The Secret Service will continue to run down all leads until we fully understand the intent of the operation and identify those responsible.
And Brad, the other thing is this became an emergency going into the General Assembly, because when the Secret Service is looking at it and they're saying this could be what happens, they could collapse the entire network, and they could collapse or bring law enforcement telecommunications to a standstill. And they have all of these world leaders coming in, all of these dignitaries, plus the President of the United States, and you have two major wars going on overseas. The Secret Service just felt in this environment, especially with all the violence and other kinds of problems that we've had in the country recently, there's just no room for error, and there's no opportunity here where they're willing to take chances.
There are theories that the Chinese were behind the plot, but so far those allegations have not been proven. The science community voicing concerns about hurricane safety and preparedness following budget cuts. We'll speak with an expert next, but first it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Aubrey?
Things are still looking great if you're on I-15. I'm not seeing any delays. It is starting to fill in a little bit near the south interchange, but still looking pretty good. If you're on the 201 freeway coming up to I-15, you might see a little bit of brake lights through Magna. And then again, we do still have our slowdowns coming on Pioneer Crossing and 2100 North out of Saratoga Springs and Eagle Mountain. I'm Aubrey Withrich in the KSL Traffic Center.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
For nearly 70 years, Les Olson IT has been the trusted name for businesses. From state-of-the-art printers and copiers to managed IT services, we have the solutions you need to stay ahead in today's world. And now Les Olson IT is trusted and licensed in Utah for security systems, for technology that helps you work smarter. Les Olson IT, providing solutions that empower your business.
Les Olson IT.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Ooh, ma.
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm, I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. As hurricane season approaches, doctors with the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation are voicing concern about budget cuts that undermine national preparedness. They are urging local and federal authorities to take steps to make sure communities have the support and resources they need to weather extreme weather events that have devastated communities across the country. Chief Sciences Officer Dr. Alonzo Plow joined me to talk about what a difference climate change is making in our everyday lives.
You know, I don't use this word that often, but climate change is an existential kind of influence on our life. And there's really very few things that are affecting us locally in our neighborhoods and globally like climate change. And the reason is that its influence on extreme weather. Every summer now has become the hottest summer on record. If people are living in flood-prone areas, we usually think of 100-year floods as low probability events, but when those are happening every year, that's something unusual. When the heat is increasing, the range in which certain insect-borne diseases moves from the equatorial area up north into our part of the world, and you begin to get a whole new kind of exposure to those diseases. These are all the influences of heat and extreme weather. So that's why it's an everybody problem. And unfortunately, it's one that, unfortunately, at least from my perspective, it gets politicized like it's a red or blue problem. It's really everybody's problem, everybody's issue, and should be looked at through the facts.
Yeah. So, when it becomes a red or blue problem, I think a lot of people have become numb to the word climate change and the impacts of climate change. Are you concerned about that?
Yeah, I'm concerned when something that really affects all of us, when you frame it that way, it divides us instead of uniting us around something that has an implication for all of us, right? So, and it makes it hard for us to talk about what to do. And it makes us hard. As a former public health official, it kind of dampens, as I think you're saying, the awareness that people need to have that when some aspect of climate change, extreme weather is going to affect them, they don't take may not take the warning seriously. They may not support the efforts to build in mitigation, better levees in their rivers, or whatever it takes. Plant more trees in the neighborhood, which, often in urban neighborhoods, there can be a 20-degree difference between places that don't have tree cover and places that have tree canopy. So it takes away the sense of urgency, and it takes away the sense of agency, right? The things you can do. We don't have to be passive victims of this. So a lot of what we're trying to fund at our foundation, the work we're doing, is to bring about this awareness, kind of depoliticize it, put the facts on the table, focus on what it means locally to people, and try to get us to work together on this issue.
What action needs to take place? When you speak with federal and local officials, what are you calling for them to do?
I'm asking federal officials to go with the established scientific facts about the relationship of climate change and health. And we're asking federal officials to please repost the objective scientific information on climate change and health on the websites of the EPA and the CDC. And we're asking federal officials and the EPA to provide, science-based and evidence-based information so people can have the tools that they need to do the work. We need FEMA's help. We're asking federal officials to fund FEMA, to help neighbors. The big ask for the federal side is restoring the funding, the information, and the partnership we need to mitigate and respond to disasters. On the state level, most states are stepping up to this because they're closer to the reality, and they're working on this. That kind of collaborative recognition of mutual support that's needed in disasters and recovery. That's something I think state and local public health departments can do more of together.
All right, so let's look at the individual level. You did talk about planting trees and such, but what else can families do, not only to maybe prevent bigger problems, but to be prepared?
Yeah, preparedness is really important. And again, when I was a public health official at the family level, we often talked about have a kit and have a plan, right? Whatever the hazard you might have in your area, could be flooding, extreme weather. No, have a kit. And if the power goes out, you know what to do. And a lot of our neighbors are dependent on electricity. They're on oxygen machines. They're on home dialysis. So at a neighborhood level, you have to have contingency plans, and you need to do those with your emergency responder network so that power can be restored or those folks can get to places with generators, because that's a life or death situation. So a family plan, we think a neighborhood plans are really important, particularly if you have vulnerable neighbors, elderly neighbors who might need a little more support. But having a kit, a plan, some neighborhood connectiveness, know what information to listen to in a disaster that is related to extreme weather event. These are all the kind of things you can do at a neighborhood and household level.
Dr. Plow says parents should also understand what type of disaster plans are set up in their children's schools. While Utah's hunters look for game this season, the Division of Wildlife Resources has a quarry of their own, poachers. They can't do it alone, though. DWR spokesperson Faith Heaton-Jolly says hunters are instrumental on cracking down on poaching.
You know, we really want to reiterate to people, we've only got about 50 full-time patrol officers with, you know, the Utah Division of Law Enforcement, those conservation wildlife officers, and we really do need the public's help in detecting some of this illegal activity. And so just keep your eyes out as you're out, you know, recreating this fall. If you see anything that looks suspicious, you can report that through, you know, our various channels, and just that does go a long way in helping us to keep the public safe, but then also to protect this natural resource.
People eager to help only need to be equipped with two things: knowledge of the law and a cell phone.
Yeah, so kind of the first thing is just if you yourself are familiar, if you're out hunting, you yourself knowing the laws goes a long way in helping to prevent. Because some of the poaching cases we see, it really is just, you know, maybe an accident or somebody didn't quite know what the rule was. And so in those instances, you know, it's obviously better to know in advance and to prevent that from happening. But then if people can self-report, that goes a long way as well, in our officers being able to work with that individual. But if you are out hunting and you know the laws, you're also more apt to know if somebody is breaking the law, right? So if you do see something that looks suspicious, or you're like, I know that's illegal, being able to get a license plate number goes a long way in helping us to be able to successfully prosecute that case. So that's kind of the first step, is get a license plate number, and then you can report that information, you know, a license plate number, if you can get a photo, if you can get a GPS location, all of those descriptors go a long way in helping us. And then you can actually report that to the Utah Division of Law Enforcement through a couple different ways. There's a text number, you can call it in on a hotline, there's an app, or you can report it through one of our websites. So all of those things are going to help get our officers the information they need to be able to look in and investigate that case.
While Heaton-Jolly does ask people to help, she also wants them to put their own public safety first.
Yeah, so that is one thing, you know, we want people that are reporting, you know, obviously we need their help, and we really appreciate when they report any illegal activity that they see. But yes, we want you to stay safe. And so we don't recommend confronting the individuals if you see something going on. Again, just get that, you know, license plate number if you can, or, you know, if you're not close enough or, you know, you can't see it, then we do recommend, you know, getting any other descriptors you can, the location, you know, a make and model or color of the vehicle, any physical descriptors of the individuals. That's all going to go a long way in getting our officers information so that they can successfully investigate that later.
And that is Faith Heaton-Jolly with the DWR. Now, knowing the law, staying safe, and helping keep this natural resource strong are the best ways to make the most of the hunting season this year. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. The process to create new congressional maps in Utah, moving through the process today. The maps redrawn. We have special coverage and analysis of the redistricting process. And a program designed to support foster families officially launching after 2 years of testing. We'll chat with First Lady Abby Cox in just a few minutes. Forecast is calling for the high to stay in the 80s for the next few days before a big change over the weekend. KSL's top local stories in 1 minute.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Dallas, authorities are clarifying the number of victims again after a deadly shooting at an ICE facility. ICE officials say one detainee is dead and the suspected shooter is also dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. ABC's Maria Villarreal is on scene and spoke with a mother who was there with her daughter at the facility for a scheduled appointment.
She said her daughter was actually outside when this happened. The building went on lockdown. They were stuck inside, and then her daughter was outside waiting for her. That way, when she was done with her status check-in, she would come out and be with her family. The daughter had nowhere to go. She hid behind cars. She was actually on a phone call with other family members when this happened. Very scary moments for them all that were inside and outside the building.
Authorities still don't have a motive. Mark Zuckerberg posting on Threads today that Instagram has grown to 3 billion monthly active users. Meta's CEO called it a milestone ahead of the social media platform's 15th anniversary. And stocks ended lower today for a second day. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. We're gathering more details about a kayaker who died at Echo Reservoir last night. Summit County Sheriff's Office says the victim is a 56-year-old man from Salt Lake County, and his adult son was the one who called for help. Ty Hunter with the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation was out on a boat during the search and rescue operation last night. He says the man was not wearing a life jacket.
That one simple thing that could have fixed this all is having a life jacket there. That could have bought that individual more time for somebody to come and help him.
Hunter says they found the man about 40 feet beneath the surface. He says incidents like this are a reminder that you always need to wear a life jacket and someone with you when you're on the water. FanX is beefing up security for the convention this weekend. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla has details.
Founder and CEO of FanX Salt Lake Pop Culture and Comic Convention, Dan Farr, says they want people to feel comfortable, especially after Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at Utah Valley University just 2 weeks ago, which has since created some concerns with safety and security at large-scale events.
We've been working with the Salt Lake City Chief of Police and several other law enforcement agencies to make sure that this is going to be a very safe event and people will have a good time.
Farr says they've more than doubled security staff and plan to have them stationed inside and out, along with some routine security checks like metal detectors and bag checks. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
41 people in Utah have now been diagnosed with measles, but the state's health department says they are also examining wastewater and believe that the number is likely much higher. Meanwhile, the Bear River Health Department says 11 unvaccinated babies were treated this week following a possible exposure to measles. Children under a year are not eligible to take the measles vaccine, but were offered a post-exposure vaccine. The IRS will no longer send out paper refund checks starting at the end of this month. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
An executive order was signed to modernize IRS payments, and it essentially says paper checks cost more to process, they get lost or stolen more often, so they're now gone. So what should you do if you always get a paper check refund and you don't have a bank account? Well, the IRS says they'll have several options, one being you can receive a prepaid debit card.
The IRS says during the last tax filing season, about 7% of Americans opted to get a paper refund check. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day down 171 points. That's more than 0.25%, ending at 46,121. S&P down by 19 points, and the NASDAQ down by 75 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Aubrey Withridge.
Well, we've had a crash-free afternoon drive today so far. I am seeing that there is a little bit of slowing if you're approaching 106 South in Sandy area. That's for northbound drivers on I-15. But other than that, I-15 looks great all the way up into Ogden and down into Utah County. If you are coming out of Tooele County, that's looking pretty good. I-80's clear all the way up to I-15. The 201 freeway has a little bit of slowing in Magna. And if you are coming out of Saratoga Springs and Eagle Mountain, 2100 North, Pioneer Crossing, Mountain View Corridor, all of those are pretty bogged down right now, so just give yourself a few extra minutes. The Utah Symphony's Masterworks series features the greatest classical hits from the 1700s to today. Everyone's welcome at Abravanel Hall. Tickets start at $26 at utahsymphony.org/hits. I'm Aubrey Withridge in the KSL Traffic Center.
We are expected to hit 80 degrees today, staying in the 80s all the way through Saturday, and then a dip in the temperatures on Sunday when we will see about a 30% chance of showers showers, and that chance of showers increasing through the first part of the week. 77 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today, 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227, or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
Nothing beats your game day confidence. You knock on wood and the coffee table. Adjust the thermostat to champ mode at a crisp 63 degrees and bite each chip exactly twice. This is our year, you whisper to your bobblehead. So when it's time to buy this season's lucky jersey or snag that limited edition team hat you swear already smells like victory, you don't leave checkout up to chance. You use Paze, the online checkout offered by banks and credit unions. Paze gives you added security because it keeps your actual card numbers hidden from merchants. Plus, there are no passwords to remember and no typing in card numbers. Just your eligible cards, all in one place, ready to go. So your game day rituals? Intact. Payment? Handled. Bobblehead? Still nodding yes. Let's do this. Shop with confidence at your favorite online stores. Visit Paze.com. That's Paze.com. Terms and conditions apply.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Utah lawmakers are meeting again today to discuss the new congressional map proposals after a judge tossed out the current ones. The maps redrawn, we have special coverage on Midday. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joined me earlier for an update on today's hearings.
They're still in there going through those proposed maps one by one. I want to clarify there are 5 that came from the committee's expert, right, that they talked about on Monday as well. They went through those one by one. And then there's also a bipartisan map that Senator Luz Escamilla and Representative Owens brought today, and they're actually presenting as we speak. That one's a little bit different. They worked with an outside expert. His name is Dr. Magleby, who says their map sticks closely to the rules voters approved under Prop 4 to keep things fair. And I also want to say today they made it clear, right? They clarified a few things. They said that no decision on a single map or vote is going to happen today. Today's more about sharing each map. And, for example, how Salt Lake County gets divided, which communities of interest stay whole, and whether city and county boundaries are respected or split up.
So describe the mood in that committee meeting. Has it been tense?
Oh, for sure. There actually just minutes ago, there was a pretty fiery moment when Representative Calvin Roberts went after that independent expert over some tweets he actually posted in the past. And here's how that sounded in the room.
On November 10th, 2021, you responded to a tweet by a local reporter at Fox 13 about the governor refusing to veto this legislature's original map. And here's what you tweeted, and I quote, "This is straight out of the authoritarian playbook. Step 1, rig the system to systematically exclude the opposition. Step 2, gaslight the opposition and say that they are free to compete in the rigged system you set up. Shameful." Now, Dr. Magleby, I think a lot of Utahns are going to find that language inflammatory, especially against the backdrop of our current political environment. Do you think this legislature is authoritarian?
Let's be clear what's at stake in this process. And I think I watched the hearing on Monday, and I appreciate what it is that you all are trying to accomplish here. This gets at the core of our democracy. I'm just going to say no. I don't think that you're authoritarians. And I have high hopes that you will do well by the people of Utah, giving them a map that represents their interests in Washington.
Okay, Eric, we know that once they've come up with a final map, it's now the public's chance to weigh in. So how does the public do that?
Yeah, for sure. So they announced today that there is now a 10-day online comment period where basically anyone can hop on and give feedback. But they did clarify one thing, which was under the court order driving the whole process, lawmakers can't actually, they say, change anything based on what they hear as far as those maps. So those maps you see online right now, those are pretty much the exact maps they'll be picking from when they meet again on October 6th.
That is KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera. He will have an update on the hearings at 3 o'clock coming up on Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News. The Maps Redrawn Hour special coverage continues. For some analysis on this process, I spoke to Bill Duncan, a constitutional law and religious freedom fellow with the Sutherland Institute, to get more information on who actually has the ultimate authority to decide the boundaries of these maps.
Well, it's a great question, and actually precisely the right question. The Utah Constitution says that the legislature is responsible to create those maps, and so the legislature has to do that. There are some limitations in federal law that the legislature has to follow in creating that map, but ultimately it's a legislative matter, and so the involvement of the courts is new, in state courts is new to this process. So I think the legislature is trying to figure out, how do we respond to this kind of new development?
Yeah, how will they decide the fairest way to represent Utah voters?
Well, the process now is that there have been a number of maps drafted by different groups, experts that are selected by the legislature, and then some from other legislators who have a different take. And those will all be presented. The legislators will vote on that in a special session, I believe October 6th. And then those maps presumably will become the maps that are used. But there's a kind of a side issue, and that is the legislature thinks that it's wrong for the Utah Supreme Court and other courts to micromanage that process, and so they're pushing back. So there's an appeal in a lawsuit over this, so that will complicate everything as well.
Does the Constitution dictate which factors like population size or demographics that lawmakers have to consider when drawing these lines?
Yeah, what a great question. And the answer is no. It only says that the legislature has authority to do that. So the legislature, of course, does create some kinds of guidelines for that. And a number of years ago, a citizen initiative specified some very specific things that the legislature should consider in making that. Particularly what they were concerned about is to keep the legislature from making the decision based on, well, this party or that party would win or be competitive in a district or something. They can't take that into consideration. So those aren't constitutional requirements, but they are they are the law, and so the legislature is going to be really careful. At least we assume will be really careful to screen out any kind of which party is likely to win in a particular district.
So, being that court involvement is new, how do you think this is going to turn out, or just give us your perspective on what's happening right now?
Sure. Well, I think I hope that the court will back away from this new development of kind of deciding that they have a responsibility to kind of guess what the people would want. That's really not the role of the court. And so we're hoping that the legislature follows the law, as you know, there's no indication to think that they won't, but that they follow the law and create a map that is fair. And if the great thing about our system is that if we think that the legislators are doing a bad job, we just select ones that we think are going to be more sensitive in terms of creating those maps and being more fair. So I think that's where things will go. But this lawsuit will be the lawsuit that the legislature is appealing now will be really important in determining more important factors like separation of powers, the role of the courts, Does the Constitution mean something different than what it says? All of those questions will also be things that we'll want to be watching in the next few months.
Bill Duncan is a constitutional law and religious freedom fellow with the Sutherland Institute. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Hello, Utah. I'm Josh with IWC Roofing. For over 25 years, my family has been safeguarding your homes with the finest roofing solutions. We value your time, and we're committed to replacing most roofs in just one day with a peace of mind 50-year shingle warranty. Call us today at 801-232-5690 or visit iwcroofingutah.com. Ask us for the $1,500 off any full roof replacement. Financing available, 801-232-5690. Utah homeowners, look no further than IWC Roofing for a roof that stands the test of time. With 25 years of excellence, IWC is your trusted family-owned roofing expert. At IWC, we offer one-day roof replacements with top-tier quality materials, all with a 50-year shingle warranty. To keep a leaky roof from dampening your day, we're offering $1,500 off a full roof replacement. Get a free estimate. Call 801-232-5690 or visit iwcroofingutah.com. 801-232-5690.
A program focused on supporting new foster parents and families officially launching in Utah today after 2 years of successful testing. The Care Communities program is meant to not just help foster families, but also strengthen community bonds through service. A care team made of 8 to 10 people will help a family with errands, meals, or chores while everyone gets used to their new living arrangement. The program came to the state largely thanks to Utah's First Lady, Abby Cox. She joins me now here on Midday to talk more about the program. First of all, thanks for being with me.
Thank you so much for having me.
So tell us about the need. Why is a program like this so important?
Well, in the state of Utah, and frankly throughout the entire country, we really do have a shortage of foster families. And the reason is that most foster families who get in the system and get the training and take a placement leave after 1 year or 1 to 2 placements. And the number one reason they cite for leaving is a lack of support. So this is an opportunity for all of us to get involved and to give our support to foster families in a way that makes sense, in a way that we are trained and keeping these kids extra safe. Programs are put in place, and it really gives us all an opportunity to be a part of that solution.
Describe what you've learned in the last couple of years of testing.
Yeah, so we've done a 2-year pilot. And through this pilot, we have learned, number one, that this is more needed than ever, more needed than we even realized when we started it. There are foster families who were part of this pilot that say, I don't know how people do this without a care community. So what we've learned is that training is essential, that each one of these these care communities, each one of the members of the care team are trained in trauma-informed care. They understand, and it helps those foster parents really feel not so isolated. They feel like they have a whole community, a whole group of people that understand what they're doing, what it takes, and how to be the most effective in helping them.
So how long does this support system stay in place?
You know, it really goes, a care team really is in place for about the first 4 to 6 weeks. And that really helps that family establish what they need, establish those connections, and get that placement really working well. A lot of our placements, we are working towards reunification. We're making sure in helping those bio families to make sure that they're in a place, they're getting the help they need to be parents that are healthy and ready to take on the responsibility of parenting again. So a lot of those placements will end up being reunified, which is, again, a great goal. And then beyond that, those families can get settled and make sure that they have what they need to be successful in that placement.
Right. This is all about the kids. How do you hope they will benefit from this?
Well, if you can imagine a child who's been removed from their biological home and their home of origin, and in a very traumatic way because of abuse or neglect, and the trauma and the fear and the things that they're experiencing,
And then they're brought into this home who has been trained, and then they have a support system around them. Many of those children who are in a new placement, this may be 3 or 4 or 5th placement, and they have not had a stable environment, and they have not had healthy adult relationships. And there are 8 to 10 folks there ready to support, ready to love, and be a network for them as they go forward in their life. And these are relationships that aren't going to end. These are relationships that will go on forever. And you can see mentor opportunities. You can see, opportunities to do an internship with somebody. It really is this lifelong connection that these kiddos can experience.
Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
First Lady Abby Cox joining us this afternoon. We do have some breaking news. Police say the cause of death in the suspected murder-suicide of a couple in Midvale was a gun. Unified Police say officers were called to the home for a welfare check yesterday where they found 65-year-old Eileen and 63-year-old Terry Lyon dead inside. Police are now saying that Eileen was shot and Terry appears to have died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. A new hybrid species of bird discovered in Texas. Scientists say the changing climate may have led to this new flying species. You'll want to tune in for a flighty story coming up after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Aubrey?
Well, we haven't had any crashes so far this afternoon, but we do have some slowdowns. This is for northbound drivers heading through Draper right now as you're approaching 12300 South. And then again, near 90th South, you'll see a few brake lights there as well. And if you're going southbound near the South Interchange, you'll see some slowdowns there as well. It's starting to fill in on Bangerter Highway and Mountain View Corridor between 3500 South and heading over to the 201 freeway. And if you are coming out of Eagle Mountain and Saratoga Springs, that's still looking very slow if you're on 2100 North or Pioneer Crossing. I'm Aubrey Withrich in the KSL Traffic Center.
Do you know why more homeowners choose Any Hour Services for help when it's time to replace their air conditioners? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the main reasons people choose Any Hour Services is because of our people, processes, and convenience. People tell us all the time that there's just something different about having an Any Hour Services technician in their home. That's why most of our over 18,000 Google reviews mention our technicians by name. Another reason is our 7-step install process that we call the Any Hour Difference. It all starts with a needs analysis where you explain what you like and dislike about your current system. This helps us design and size a system that fits your comfort and efficiency preferences as well as your home's airflow requirements. As for convenience, most of our installs are completed in one day. We also have flexible, no money down financing options available, even if you've been told no in the past. So if you've been thinking about getting a new air conditioner, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate today. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
There's no better place to fall in love with fall than Logan, Utah. Honestly, it's kind of hard to imagine fall right now because it's been so blasted hot this summer. But I promise Logan is the place for cooler temperatures and even cooler events. You absolutely have to come to the Center Street Giant Pumpkin Festival September 27th. These ain't your mama's pumpkins, although I don't really know what that means. But anyway, last year, the record-breaking gourd tipped in at over 2,100 pounds. That's more than 3 grand pianos. Professional pumpkin carvers, family scavenger hunt, activities for kids, live music, more than 100 vendors, and fantastic fall fun. Coming up, we've got the American West Heritage Center's Fall Harvest Festival, the North Logan Pumpkin Walk, 2 giant corn mazes that may or may not be haunted, concerts, historic downtown ghost tours, and more. Don't even ask me when the leaves will be turning because at this point, your guess is as good as mine. But it doesn't matter because whenever you come to Logan, it's always beautiful. Visit explorelogan.com to plan your autumn adventures today. explorelogan.com.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Hey, want to hear something great? Right now at Wendy's, you can get 2 of the #1 selling bacon cheeseburger in all fast food, the JBC, plus medium fries and a medium soft drink for just $8. Want to hear something else great? Double the burger means double the bacon. Now that's a game changer. 2 of the #1 bacon cheeseburgers with fries and a drink for just $8. Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Request $8 JBC meal deal to obtain discount. Individual items at regular price.
Visit the contest page on KSLNewsRadio.com. This week, win tickets to Corn Bellies in Lehigh. Corn Bellies, Utah's original corn maze, features over 60 attractions plus a nightly fireworks show. Or win tickets to see and hear the Utah Symphony as they perform Mahler's Titan Symphony, October 30th and November 1st at Abravanel Hall. What are you waiting for? Enter now at KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A new hybrid species of bird has appeared in Texas to the amazement of bird watchers across the country. Scientists are suggesting this may be egged on by climate change. Brad Milkey has the story on this episode of the Start Here podcast.
As an amateur birder, I like to go out with my binoculars every week or two, especially right now during fall migration season. I am terrible, absolutely terrible at identifying species, but it's a nice way to spend a morning. Well, if you asked me to identify this one, it would have flown right by me. This month, researchers at UT Austin came forward to say they have found a new type of bird. It's got the beautiful stripy tail feathers of a blue jay, but the head of a different bird called a green jay. Local bird watchers are calling this a grue jay. One of these birders saw it and logged it on their app.
First noticed by a woman named Donna, who's a homeowner outside of San Antonio.
Well, eventually, a PhD candidate named Brian R. Stokes came to catch it, take a blood sample, and release it.
We compared the nuclear DNA, which is inherited both from your mother and your father, with samples of DNA from potential parent jay species that are found in Texas.
What he found was a 50-50 split of DNA between these two species, a so-called wild hybrid between a female green jay and a male blue. Stokes is now the lead author on this paper.
We thought they would be really antagonistic with one another. We were really caught off guard.
This kind of crossbreeding is exceedingly rare in nature, he says. Usually, species' body parts and genetic differences are too wide to make viable offspring. Sometimes it works in species that have common ancestors, which the blue and green jay do, but the last time they intersected was 7 million years ago.
A great example is polar bears and grizzly bears.
Blue jays went north, green jays went south towards South America, Mexico, and parts of Texas. What's changed since? Well, climate change. Over the last 20 years, amateur birders have been spotting green jays further and further north, hundreds of miles further into Texas. Meanwhile, blue jays, often driven out of their habitats by human development, are flitting around some of these same areas. What follows is a classic story. Boy meets girl, girl likes boy's plumage, nature does the rest. In this case, it seems to have yielded the first known hybridization between these previously isolated species. Now, for birders, this is being greeted with excitement. Not only could there be a new potential lifer in the field guides, but it also means there could be more instances of this in other species. What have we been missing?
There's a lot of cases of people thinking a bird is a hybrid of two species and then being incorrect based on, visual identification or morphology.
For climate scientists, it represents a new step, perhaps troubling, perhaps not. We've talked about species dying out because of climate change. Could this be an example of life adapting to it? One thing is for sure, soaring temperatures are already yielding unpredictable results, however colorful they may be.
Jeff Kaplan has joined me. Are you a bird watcher?
I like going to the Farmington Bird Refuge, but I don't know anything about the birds. It's just pretty.
I know. At our house, it's all about the hummingbirds and the fact that the hummingbirds have migrated. What's my husband going to do? He can't watch the hummingbirds anymore.
Do you like the hummingbirds? Do you have like a hummingbird feeder?
Several.
Yeah, and you draw them in. And they